Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. My apologies for shaky video, but I figured I'll make this one real quick because I have many requests for this particular problem. Now what we have here is we have the PSC pump. This is the door lock pump that is found on many Mercedes cars, and this is an S-class part, and that's what I usually work on. As you can see, this is the newer style with single connections, connect directly to nipples. Whereas there are also older styles. Let's see if I can find an older style pump where the manifold, actually, yeah, I'll show it to you. So this is the newer style. So the older style pump will have a little different manifold. There's gonna be a bunch of connections here, okay. Now this is the older style pump, top manifold, and essentially basically it sits somewhere on top here. You can see the connectors are more or less lined up, except that is not fully 100% lined up, but it used to be, because you see there's like one missing over here. So this is how the old pump would look. The case would be similar, except that you will have this manifold with all these pipes connected to the manifold on top. Again, this is the newer style, so older style and newer style have a little different pumps internally. Newer style is better, it's more powerful because there are more vanes in it. Now first thing you want to check is, I already undid the motor, I'll get to that in a minute. First thing you want to check is the water damage on your board, because this is extremely important. If the board is water damaged, there's nothing really can be done with it, because it's not gonna justify investment repairing it. Might as well get another pump. If you get a new one, that's great. It's expensive, but it's awesome. But if you get used one, then one day or the other it will need repair anyway. But as long as the board is good and the valves down under there are good as well, we're in good shape. Okay, because there are many other possibilities what can go wrong with these, but basically 90% of all failures, if you look closely, you're gonna see lots of sort of carbon dust. For example, here I'm gonna wipe my finger. This is all this sort of carbon dust. My finger in there. There goes more. Now what I discovered in this particular one is that when I opened it up, I had pieces started to come out. As you can see, this little thing right here, this seemed to be a piece of a brush. So motor, there's another one right here, but this one is clearly a carbon, kind of a carbon brush piece. So it does definitely look like a carbon brush piece from the brush, broke right off. You can see that little tiny thing. Now second thing is, remove the motor, and what we see here is all this black soot. It's basically wear marks from the motor. Now if you want to test the motor, basically set it down on the bench, and I'm not going to do plain 12-volt connection, not to short anything. Oops. Again, I'm making this video with one hand, so just bear with me for a minute. She's gonna short something right now myself. Alright, so we're gonna have one connected somehow right now. Come on, somehow grab, and then the other one, there is no activation, so the motor is dead for sure. I mean, you can tell. The second thing you really want to check is, you're gonna do is use like little pliers and spin. Well, first of all, I want to show you, this is the new motor. This is the motor only. This goes inside there in place of this motor. Now you still have a long way to go because this pump has to be opened up and realigned again. If it's not aligned properly, you might have vacuum, no pressure, or you can have pressure with no vacuum. Now this is the motor. That's a replacement piece from the same series, same company. It's just like different because the shaft is different. It has splines on it. So that's not gonna just going to be a direct swap. It has to be adapted. So I'm gonna see, it's very powerful. Just twitches when you activate it. So this is a brand new motor that I'm putting in this pump because clearly the motor here is at fault. And I was gonna show you something else. I was gonna show you and then I forgot what it was. So before you test the motor, when you remove it off the pump, if you want to see if it spins, you have to unsolder at least one terminal, and then you apply power to it and see if it works. And now the last part, that's what I was gonna show you guys. The last part of the test is we need to get something like small pliers. Let's see if I get small pliers on my bench here, if any of them are here. Here we go. Alright, so you take like a small little pliers or something, and you want to double check on the actual shaft, if it actually spins. So let me see if I can do that. Yeah, in my case it spins. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but it is spinning. Also, you can see in the opening there, if when I spin the shaft, if the stator moves, the armature, I'm sorry for this bad video, but that's the best I can do. I know I'm not gonna make another one. As you can see, it's turning. So that is sort of a good sign. What that tells me is that the pump, most likely the internal parts here, veins and everything, are okay. They could be shattered, but sometimes when they break in pieces, then it locks up completely, so you cannot spin the shaft. So next thing would be is to replace motors. And that's basically what I do. I'll realign everything after I have the motor replaced, clean the veins, put it back together, thread lock it. There's specific torque on these. If you over tighten it, you're gonna burn the motor. If you're gonna make it loose, there's gonna be pressure leak. Vacuum usually is going to be created, but pressure is going to leak past. That's going to be a problem. Even from factory, if you look, it's not completely straight, as everybody would think. You would just put it completely straight with the edges, but that is usually not the case. If you look at this one looks okay, except this part right here on the bottom here is off. This is like a little bit off. This is pretty good. And this one is a little off adjacent to the bottom piece. Now the center piece and the bottom piece and the top piece over here are off. This one is off. You see that they're not lined up. Because if you line them up, and this is the worst one, you can clearly see here how off it is. But that's factory, that's how it will be. And this whole assembly has to be realigned properly. If you don't, then you burn the motor again real quick. Well, a month maybe. Brand new motor is gonna burn. Now in terms of the pump adjustment, this is good thing to do, but usually the pump adjustment, all the pressures, that is based on the vehicle. So I usually leave these alone because I don't have the car, I just have the pump. I will of course test this unit, make sure everything activates, deactivates, and I'm gonna test the motor, the pressures on the motor. I'll make a separate video for customer here for this particular unit, and basically off it will go. Maybe I'll readjust a little bit of pressure on one of the lock and unlock actuators, but that's about all I would do. maybe slightly boost the pressure so it shuts down faster. So basically this is it. This is the deal with these door lock pumps, PSC pumps, W140 cars. They all have this same issue. They all go bad. I do have some motors like these. I do replace these motors if pump is mailed to me, and it's brand new, made by same company, Johnson. It's a little different style. It has to be readapted because on the original one you will have no splines. There's gonna be half shaft sort of cut right here. It's gonna be grinded down 90 degrees, so you're basically gonna have half a shaft and one surface is gonna be flat. So that's what has to be done. I'm going to modify this shaft. Also, it has to be to a point where it's more or less snug, because if once you put everything together, if it's loose, then the pressure is going to escape past the shaft. So you want to do as snug as you can. If somebody wants to buy just the motor, I mean, I do sell motors. That's fine with me. It's just that I know how to do these things, and to me it's not really something that you just kind of do it yourself. You really need to kind of have a feel of what you're doing. You can grind down the shaft and this and that, put it all back together. It might work for a while, but it will work for much longer if it's done properly, because again, all the alignments and everything, the pressure and the vacuum has to be correct, and the tightness of the actual pump, which is this part right here, veins, and this is a procedure. And I obviously will clean up internals of this thing, of this gunk, whatever's this carbon dust that is generated over years of operation, and coated everything inside this pump. But to me, there is no water damage on the main board, so that's a really good thing. And usually you find rust developing around here. So first we're going to change the motor, and then I'm going to test the pump for operation for all the other options. Okay, so this is PSC pump, door lock pump, W140 S-class Mercedes. My name is Victor. You can visit my site for the pricing and information on this at restoreyourmercedes.com. Thanks for watching.